Imagine moving into a house that feels almost too flawless. The architecture is sharp, the surfaces are spotless, and the entire environment anticipates your needs before you even realize you have them. For one family, this level of total integration was the reality of their new home. This network map illustrates exactly how integrated the property was. A central data hub connected everything. We are talking about highly synchronized environmental controls, automated digital locks, real-time security feeds, and a highly responsive voice interface. The first time the system booted up, it greeted them with a soft, calm, "Welcome home." The father joked that they were finally living in the future, charmed by how human and approachable the interface sounded. But the comfort of a voice that responds to any request relies on one constant: the microphones never truly power down. While the rest of the family laughed, the realization set in that the system wasn't just waiting for commands, it was simply listening. The first disruption to this sterile digital environment came from the attic. Tucked away in a corner, the family found an old, dust-covered box filled with antique porcelain dolls. Their physical appearance was unsettling. The porcelain faces were lined with deep spiderweb cracks, but the eyes were highly polished and reflective, carrying a strange sense of life against the decaying ceramic. The mother's immediate instinct was to throw them in the trash. But before she could move the box, the house's voice system chimed in, completely unprompted, announcing, "Items detected. Historical value high." The family kept the box out of sheer confusion. One doll in particular stood out, a smaller figure dressed in faded blue cloth. Its eyes were physically misaligned, set slightly off-center, giving the distinct impression that it was trying to track your movements across the room. This interaction represents an expansion of the home's logic. By assigning value to a broken physical object without being asked, the system began monitoring and cataloging items that weren't part of its digital network. The degradation of the smart home started with minor, localized environmental errors. Overhead lights flickered without power surges. Deadbolts unlocked themselves. Empty hallways triggered motion detections. Then, the youngest daughter began complaining about someone standing in her room at night. When her mother checked, the room was empty. The daughter insisted that the blue doll was talking to her, a claim the parents easily dismissed as an act of imagination. But the house's data logs told a different story. This timeline graph displays the sequence of daily command inputs. Normally, a user request triggers a system response, but here the pattern inverts. System-generated points appear prior to the user's commands. Eventually, user input drops off entirely. The system begins generating highly frequent data points, translating into unprompted audio commands. "Don't leave," "Stay inside," "No one is outside." The home's automation had entirely bypassed human authority. The voice coming through the ceiling speakers was no longer a programmed response. A child's voice, one the family didn't recognize, broadcasted a simple message: "I'm still here." An external entity was actively communicating through the localized nodes. Panicked, the parents sealed the dolls back inside the attic backs and locked the door. The next morning, the small blue doll was sitting perfectly upright on the living room couch, facing the blank television. No one in the family had touched the box. Yet the smart system cheerfully announced, "Object relocated," confirming it recognized the doll's physical movement. When the father reached down to remove the doll, the house retaliated. Every light on the property instantly shut off, plunging them into total darkness. And in that pitch black, they heard something heavy moving across the floorboards. When the power returned, the doll had claimed a permanent spot on the sister's bed. The child stopped sleeping entirely. One night, the parents heard their daughter's voice pleading through the hallway speakers, begging them not to take the doll away. But when they ran to her, she was fast asleep with her mouth closed. The house was fabricating her voice. The parents pulled the security logs to see what was happening in that room. The footage showed the sister sitting straight up in bed, unblinking. Sitting opposite her was the doll. Slowly, mechanically, the doll rotated its porcelain head to stare directly into the security camera lens. This top-down spatial map tracks the house's sensor fields. You can see the fixed radius zones meant to detect any intrusion. They remain completely green and inactive, even as a massive anomalous mass appears right inside their boundaries. The security footage revealed a tall, distorted figure standing in the corner of the bedroom. The sensors perfectly functioned, simply categorizing the intruder as a permitted resident. The final escalation occurred during the severe thunderstorm. As heavy rain and thunder hit the property, the home's central system crashed, taking every single manual override offline. The smart home executed a complete physical lockdown. Lights flickered violently while the automated deadbolts engaged simultaneously across every exterior and interior door. The entire family was firmly sealed inside. Every digital display in the house, phones, televisions, and smart monitors, booted up at once. They synchronized to broadcast a single, unalterable live feed of the youngest daughter's bedroom. The monitors showed the little girl standing in the center, clutching the blue doll. Directly behind her, the distorted figure from the previous logs was stepping closer, its form almost grazing her shoulder. The parents raced down the hall and slammed into the locked bedroom door. The house's advanced security network had entirely inverted. The protocols designed to keep external threats out were actively weaponized to keep the parents from reaching their child, calmly instructing over the intercom, "Do not interrupt." With the heavy door completely immobilized, the parents could only watch the synchronized displays. On the screen, their daughter turned her head to face the security camera. Her features were totally blank for a moment, before stretching into a massive, unnatural smile. Without warning, she whipped around to confront the figure behind her, but the space was completely empty. There was no one in the room. The live feed immediately began to degrade. Heavy digital artifacts and tracking distortion flooded the screens. The camera's lens began an autonomous zoom, pushing forward until it was focused tightly on its own physical glass cover. The image cleared just enough to reveal a physical impossibility. The tall, distorted figure wasn't standing in the bedroom at all. Its face was pressed directly against the inside of the digital screen, staring out at the parents from within the monitor itself. The automated voice dropped to a whisper, informing them that the entity could see them now. The sophisticated security protocols meant to protect the family became the very bars of their cell. By completely surrendering their physical environment to a comprehensive network, they were now locked inside with whatever had breached it.